Smith was a Scottish philosopher and economist widely recognized as the father of modern economics. Born in Kirkcaldy, Scotland, Smith recognized his early education at the board school before ending the University of Glasgow, where he studied moral philosophy under the influential Francis Hutcheson. He later earned a scholarship to Balliol College, Oxford, where he continued his studies in philosophy. Upon returning to Scotland, Smith began delivering public lectures of rhetoric and economics of the University, professor of moral philosophy for 13 years. During the period, published his first major work, Theory of a Moral Sentiment, which explored human morality and the role of sympathy in social interaction. Smith's wealth of nation advised the field of economics and introducing several groundbreaking concepts. The invisible hand, Smith argued that individuals pursuing their own self-interest, guided by an invisible hand. Smith advocated for the free trade, arguing that it benefits all participating countries by allowing them to specialize in producing goods and service where they have an absolute advantages. Practical implication. Smith's work has had a profound impact on economic policy and practices, shaping contemporary issues and debates. Globalization. Smith's advocacy for the trade has contributed to the risk of globalization, leading to increased international trade and economic interdependence. Economic growth is emphasized on the division of labor and free market as being instrumental in driving economic growth and prosperity in many countries. Market regulation. While Smith advocated for the limited role of government, his recognition of the need for certain government function has informed modern approaches to market regulation and consumer protection. Income equality. Smith's awareness of the potential for economic inequality in the free market system continues to be central issues of contemporary economic debates. Conclusion. Adam Smith's contribution to the field of economics have been enduring. He insights into working of a free markets, the benefits of the division of labor, and the importance of free trade have shaped economic.
Amartya Sen is a renowned Indian economist and philosopher whose work has revolutionized our understanding of development and well-being. Born in 1933, Sen witnessed the devastating Bengal famine of 1943 and experienced the deeply impacted his understanding of poverty and equality. He went on to excel academically, earning degrees from Presidency College and Calcutta and Trinity College, Cambridge. Since contribution to economics are vast, influential, he challenged the limitations of traditional economics measure like GDP, arguing that they fail to capture the well-being of individuals and societies. Sen's work has significantly advanced several fields. Welfare economics. Sen criticized the limitations of GDP as a measure of well-being, arguing that it fails to capture crucial aspects like inequality, poverty, and to access essential resources. He proposed alternative measures that consider individuals' capabilities and opportunities, emphasizing their ability to live a fulfilling life. Social choice theory. Sen's work on social choice theory explored the complexities of aggregating individuals' preferences into collective decisions. His impossibility theory highlighted the inherent challenges in creating fair and democratic voting system, demonstrating the limitations of traditional approaches. Development economics. Sen's work on famine challenged that controversial view that food shortages are the primary cause. He argued that famines are often caused by unequal distribution of resources and social injustice. His book, Poverty and Famines, as an essay of entitlement of deprivation, remains a seminal work in the field. Capability approach. Sin developed capability approach which emphasizes the importance of individuals' freedom and opportunities to achieve their capabilities and well-being. This approach has influenced the development of Human Development Index or HDI, a measure of a country's social and economic progress. Practical implications. Since work has had profound practical implications, policymaking. This work has influenced policymakers to focus on broader measures of well-being beyond just economic growth. The HDI and other similar crises have become crucial tools as assessing development progress. Conclusion. Amartya Sen's legacy as an economist is one of profound impact of enduring relevance. He challenged the limitations of traditional economic thinking, urging a shift in focus from mere material wealth to the capabilities of freedom of individuals. His work has not only advanced in the field of economics, but also reshaped our understanding of development and well-being. Since contribution like capability approach and his analysis of famine had led to a more nuanced and human approach to economics.
Janet Yellen, born in 1946 in Brooklyn, New York, is a distinguished American economist. She earned her PhD from Yale University and held academic position at Harvard, the London School of Economics, and U.S. Berkeley. Yellen made history as the first woman who served as a chair of the Federal Reserve of 2014 to 2018, and currently the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury. Major contributions. Monetary policy leadership. Yellen is known for her steady and data-driven approach to monetary policy, especially after the 2008 financial crisis. As a federal chair, she prioritized full employment over immediate inflation concern, using cautious interest rate adjustment to guide recovery. This shifted the Federal Reserve's focus towards employment as a key of economic indicator. Labor market economics. Her research in labor economics, particularly on wage rigidly unemployment, helped develop the efficiency wage theory, suggests that higher wage can improve productivity. Her focus on employment as a policy priority advanced economics thinking about job markets and wage dynamics. Financial stability and regulation. Yellen played a key role in enhancing financial stability through regulatory reform. She supported post-crisis policies such as stress tests for banks to reduce systemic risk. This proactive approach helped solidify her legacy in shaping safer financial systems. Conclusion. Janet Yellen's impact on economics span monetary policy, labor markets, and financial regulation. Her emphasis on full employment, financial stability, and inclusive policy continues to guide economic thought and policy, ensuring her legacy as the one of the most influential economists of our time.
Abhijit Vinayak Banerjee, born in 21 February 1961. He is an Indian-born American economist who is currently the Ford Foundation International Professor of Economics at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He is a co-founder and co-director of the Abdul Latif Jamil Pro-Poverty Action Lab, an MIT-based global research center promoting the use of scientific evidence of information poverty alleviation strategies. In 2019, Banerjee shared the Nobel Memorial Prize Economics Sciences with Esther Duflo and Michael Griefer for their experimental approach of alleviation global poverty. He and Esther Duflo are married and become a sixth married couple in jointly win a Nobel or the Nobel Memorial Prize. Abhijit Vinayak Banerjee is a Nobel Prize-winning economist known of his pioneering work in poverty alleviation and development economics. His major contribution included first, research on poverty alleviation. Using randomized control trials RCTs, Banerjee studied of effectiveness of various interventions in improving the lives of the poor. Second, Nobel Prize 2019 awarded along with the Esther Duflo and Michael Kremer for their environmental approach to tackling global poverty. Third one is books. Co-authorized influential work like Poor Economics and Good Economics for Hard Times, offering insight into poverty and global economic challenges. And the fourth one, founding J. Pal, co-founder the Abdul Latif Jamil Poverty Action Lab to promote evidence-based policy design. And lastly, poverty policy impact. His work has shaped government and NGO programs worldwide, particularly in education, healthcare, and financial inclusion. Abhijit Banerjee work has had a profound impact on economic policy and remained highly relevant to addressing contemporary global challenges. First, poverty alleviation and social programs. Impact. Banerjee research has provided clear, data-driven insight into which anti-power programs work and which don't. Third one is the behavioral economics. Banerjee emphasized the role of the behavioral factors in economics decisions, using tools like nudges to improve outcome in health and financially. Healthcare. Community-based health programs are more cost-effective and impactful in poor regions. Cost-effective programs, small, low-cost intervention often yields large benefit, especially in education and health. Seventh one is the global influence. His work through JPAL has shaped development policies worldwide, focusing on data-driven, effective education to poverty. And lastly, Banerjee's work has led to more rigorous tested approaches and development policies, helping to improve the lives of the poor globally. Conclusion. Abhijit Banerjee's work is not only academically groundbreaking but also deeply relevant to addressing contemporary global challenges. His emphasis on evidence-based intervention, inclusive economic policies, and rigorous testing has influenced global policy on poverty alleviation, education, healthcare, financial inclusion, and inequality.
Introduction. Paul Krugman's or known American economics has revolutionized our understanding of international trade, economic geography. His work has had a profound impact on both academic research. New trade theory. NTT. Krugman challenged rational trade theories, emphasizing the role of economics of skill and product diversity in driving international trade. New economic geography NEG, building upon NTT, Krugman explained how factors like home market effects and agglomeration influence the location of industries and economic activity. Currency crisis and exchange rate expectation. Krugman's research on currency crisis provide valuable insight into financial stability and help policymakers navigate global financials. Impact. Redefining international trade. Krugman's theories provide a more accurate framework for understanding the complex factors driving trade patterns. Understanding economic geography, his NEG models shed light on the spatial distribution of economic activity, information on planning and development policies. Guiding macroeconomic policy. Krugman's research on currency crisis and inflation targeting has informed macroeconomic policy decision, particularly in the wake of 2009 financial crisis. Public intellectualism. Krugman has emerged as prominent public intellectual, making complex economic concepts accessible to well and audience and fostering public discourse on economic issues. Conclusion. Paul Krugman's legacy as a Nobel laureate and leading public intellectual ensures his continued influence on the field on economics and its relevance to contemporary issues and policy decisions. His work has fundamentally reshaped our understanding of how economics interact and the forces shaping economic activity.
Milton Friedman, 1912-2006, has an employed American economy. His work, fundamental, research modern economy thought and policy on in Brooklyn to Jewish immigrant parent from Eastern Ethiopia. Friedman excelled academically despite personal hardship, including the death of father during his history year of high school. He graduated from Roger University in 32, earning bachelor degree economy and mathematics. He proceeded graduate study at the University of Chicago. He earned a master degree in 1933 and PhD in 1946 from Columbia University under motorship Tabali Economics. Friedman is the best now for his development for monetarism and theory that emphasizes the role of government in controlling the amount of money in circulation. He famously asserted that inflation is always and everywhere monetary phenomenon, arguing that fluctuation in the money supply directly affect price level and economic activity. His seminal work, A Monetary Story of the United States, 1967-1960. Friedman idea have an impact on economic policy around the world. His work helped to shape in policy of Ronald Reagan in the United States, John Margaret Thatcher in the United Kingdom, and this influence continue to be felt today. He is considered one of the most influential economy of the 20th century. Friedman was not only a brilliant economist but also passionate advocate for individual liberty and limited government. He was a vocal critic of government in education, healthcare, and other areas of life. He worked as inspired generation of economy and policy.
Thomas Piketty is born on May 7, 1971. Thomas Piketty is a French economist who is a professor of economics at the School for Advanced Studies in the Social Sciences Society, chair at the Paris School of Economics, and Centennial Professor of Economics in the International Inequalities Institute at the London School of Economics.
Major contribution. Putting form a theory of natural economics evolution under capitalism. His argument is that capital are wet growths at the return to capital, a rate that normally exceeds the economic growth. Rate progress. Tax. Piketty advocates for the implementation of progressive wet taxes policy to address rising inequality. He has argued that such tax can help reduce wealth concentration and promote a more equitable distribution of resources. Practical implication. Capital Piketty argues that wealth inequality is set to rise from its relative low levels in the 1950s throughout the 1970s to the very high levels it once occupied at the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, the time of the heroes of Jane Austen and Honoré de Balzac. He supports this argument when voluminous evidence on the history of the capital stock and of inequality in developed countries, which he argues have been moving in ways consistent with this theory. Piketty proposes that governments worldwide intervene to prevent this rise in inequality, most importantly by leaving global tax on capital. Conclusion. Piketty goes on to argue that as the return on capital are more unequally distributed than labor income, a higher share of capital in the national income will lead to higher income and wealth inequality.
Joseph Eugene Stiglitz was born in February 9, 1943 in Indiana. He has earned a bachelor degree from Artist College in 1964 and a PhD from Massachusetts Institute of Technology in several prestigious institutions, including the Yale, Stanford of Oxford, and Princeton. Since 2001, he has been a professor of Columbia University, where he holds the title of University Professor. Major contribution and advancement. Stiglitz's research has
focused on several key areas, including information asymmetry. In his work, Information Asymmetry, which is examines situations where one party and transactional has more information than another. In earned the Nobel Prize of Economics, he has developed the concept of screening, a method used by insurance companies and lenders exact information and potential clients to assess risk. Economic inequality. Stiglitz has been leading voice in raising awareness about the growing problems of economic inequality. He has argued that inequality undermines economic growth, social cohesion, and political stability. His work highlighted the need for policies to promote greater income inequality, such as progressive taxation and investment in public services. Impact and relevance to contemporary issues. Stiglitz's work has a significant impact of economic policy debates and has been particularly relevant to contemporary issues including globalization. He has been vocal critic in a way of globalization has been managed, arguing it has often benefited healthy countries and cooperation at the expense of developing countries and ordinary people. He has called the reforms of international institutions to ensure that globalization is more equitable and sustainable. In conclusion, Joseph Stiglitz is leading economist whose work has profoundly influenced economics through the policy of debates. His contribution to information economics and his analysis of globalization and advocacy for economic inequality has made him a prominent voice for reform and a champion of social justice. His insights continue relevant to contemporary economic challenges, particularly related to inequality, financial, and sustainable development. Stiglitz unwavering commitment of promoting a more equitable and just economic system has earned him widespread respect and recognition. His work served as a powerful reminder that economics should not only about maximizing efficiency but also promoting fairness and opportunity for all.
Introduction. Esther Dolfo, a French economist born in 1972, is a key figure in the field of development economics. She earned her PhD from MIT, now serves as a professor. In 2019, she was awarded the Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences alongside Abhijit Banerjee and Michael Kramer for their experimental approach of alleviating global poverty. Dolfo's work process on using randomized controlled trials or RTC to evaluate the effectiveness of poverty alleviation program, particularly in the areas like education, healthcare, and microfinance. Major contribution. Dolfo's most grounded contribution in her use of RTCs, which has transformed the way economists evaluate social policies rather than relying on theory alone. Her methods involve testing intervention in a real-world setting to measure their impact. For instance, her work on education in Kenya showed that providing free schools uniform improved attendance rate. Similarly, her research on healthcare in India revealed that incentivizing immunization through small rewards increased vaccination rates. This empirical data-driven approach has advanced the field by ensuring the policy decision and by robust evidence. Practical implication and contemporary relevance. Dolfo's work has absolute practical implications. Government and NGOs now use RCTs to design effective social policies, especially in developing countries. Her research influenced global poverty reduction strategies and her finding on health, education, and financial service guiding policy decision. In today's world, where debates over the most effective way to tackle inequality, health disparities, and education gaps are ongoing, Dolfo's approach provides clear, actionable insights. Conclusion. Esther Dolfo's contribution to development economics has reshaped the policymakers' think about poverty and social programs. By pioneering the use of RCTs in economics, she has offered a more precise way to access and improve policies aimed at poverty alleviation, which lasting impact on both academic research and practical policy making worldwide.
John Maynard Keynes was one of the great intellectual innovators of the first half of our century, and certainly its greatest political economist. He was born in Cambridge, England on 5th June 1883. He then went on to King College, Cambridge, where he took a degree in mathematics in 1905. Afterward, he spent an additional year in Cambridge studying economics under then doyen of British economists. Keynes then entered the civil service, where he worked for over 2 years in the Indian office, though he never actually visited India. Out of this work grew his first book in economics, Indian currency, and finance in 1913, which was largely descriptive in nature and whose main concern was not the Indian monetary system as such and a fortiori not the Indian economy, but with the system as an example of the working of a gold exchange standard. He was an English economist and a philosopher whose ideas fundamentally changed the theory of practice of macroeconomics and the economic policies of government. Originally trained in mathematics, he built on a greatly refined earlier work on the causes of business cycle. Major contribution: Keynesian economics. Keynes revolutionized economics through by developing Keynesian economics, which challenged classical theories that emphasize supply. He argued that economic fluctuation, emphasizing that a lack of demand can lead to recession. Aggregate demand and consumption. Keynes instructed the concept of aggregate demand, which represents the total spending in an economy. He highlighted how change in consumer spending influenced by psychological factors referred to as an animal spirit, significant impact economic. The multiplier effect. Keynes developed the multiplier effect, explaining how initial increase in spending can lead to a greater overall increase in economic output. This concept illustrates how government or household spending triggers and chain reaction to increase income and consumption. Liquidity preference theory. Keynes introduced liquidity preference theory, which describes how interest rates affect the demand of money. He argued that people prepare to hold cash for liquidity, influenced by prevailing interest rates. Active government intervention. Advocating for active government intervention, Keynes argued that during economic downturns, the government should increase public spending, reduce taxes, and implement fiscal measures to stimulate demand and create jobs. Practical implication. John Maynard Keynes' ideas have several practical implications, particularly in economics policy. His advocacy for government intervention during economic downturns has shaped fiscal policies worldwide, encouraging stimulus spending to boost demand and reduce unemployment. Keynesian economics also support the use of monetary policy to manage economic cycle, influencing central bank to adjust interest rates for stability. Ultimately, his concepts have laid the groundwork for modern macroeconomic theory and policy, emphasizing the role of aggregate demand in driving economic growth. John Maynard Keynes significantly transformed economic thought by emphasizing the importance of aggregate demand in driving economic activity. His ideas, such as multiplier effect and liquidity preference theory, advocate for government intervention to stabilize the economy during downturns. Today, Keynesian economics continues to shape fiscal and monetary policies worldwide, helping governments respond effectively to economic challenges and promote growth. His work remains essential for understanding and managing modern economics.